Welcome to the Hip Hop Hustle podcast. I'm with one and only Langston Bristol. I was like, oh, I got to make sure I get his name right, but Langston Bristol came through.
Uh,
Uh, got
yeah, man.
some brand new music in 2023. Dropped obviously single "The Float" and "My Own Lane" featuring Logic also came out. Um, yeah, man, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. You've been doing some amazing things. You're not only just a rapper, you're also someone who produces, you play instruments, you do R&B. So you for anyone who's not sure, the skill set that you bring is pretty unique, especially into the world of music, being able to blend and being able to do multiple things. But yeah, man, absolute pleasure.
Bro, it's an honor. For real. I just noticed how comfy your chair looks, bro.
It is
I
really
just noticed you
comfortable.
got the library chair, dude. That's like that one that's in the corner. You
Yeah.
can like read
Oh,
a
it literally it's in the corner of my room. And I was like, you know what? I never sat on it. And when I ordered it, I was like, please be comfortable. I actually ordered two chairs because I thought the
uh,
other chair would make up the room better. But I ended up going with this one because literally, yeah, it is very comfortable. So if you're ever around, you can grab a seat in it.
right. I got the little office chair, the one that like changes height and all that.
Yeah. Oh man, those chairs they get uncomfortable. It's so weird. There are some like ergonomic chairs that are like weirdly uncomfortable. Like I don't know why, but I'm like, why is this doesn't feel good for my back? Like they're
No,
just I don't know why they make chairs like that.
that is true. Finding a good seat for the like I haven't really I got like the most basic ones you can find for my studio always. But I probably should like get one that like massages me while I'm playing guitar. I should probably get one that got like hands. It's just like I need to get a good one.
Yeah. Well, do you find that like when you've been sitting for a long time, like you just get up and your back is like, oh fuck, like I need to walk around. I always find that I need to go for a walk, like to stand up straight. I struggle.
Yes, because I mean oftentimes when I'm playing like my piano's right here and my like when I got my guitars, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even leaned support, like the back support, I'm not even fully leaned back. I'm like hunched over a lot of times. So like sometimes after a while, I'm just like, oh God, I need to go outside, check the mail. It's not even any mail. I just need to go,
Yeah.
just go outside and do something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like to
I
go
feel you
to
on that
just
for
like
sure.
the fridge or the cupboard just to like I'm not hungry, I'm not doing anything. I just need to stand up, I need to stretch my legs, but if the weather is good, I'm always going outside, going for a walk. Like I don't know, I feel so much better moving my legs and just yeah, like I just feel horrible if I'm inside all day.
No, I feel you. Cause like here's the thing too, like when I'm creating, a lot of times the way I do it is really uh free range anyway. Like I'll be watching YouTube or while I'm creating, or I'll be like watching a show at the same time. Sometimes I'll get up and do something else, go back and forth, like you know what I'm saying. So like I end up kind of moving around a lot. And also, I'm like hella excited too. Sometimes I'm creating, I stand up, I'm like moving, like so. I actually do kind of move a lot while I'm doing it. I don't really think it's kind of weird while we're talking about it. It makes me think about it because it's like a natural thing. You don't really pay attention to your nature, but I kind of do get up and move a lot. But it depends on what it is. If I'm trying to get a riff down pat, it's like hard. I'm like trying to figure it out.
So
That
do
can
you
take a
find
while.
when you're collaborating with people that they are like, how do you do this, man? How do you have so many different things on? Or like, how does that work? Are you just have you always been able to focus while other things have been happening?
Huh? When you say that, when you
Like
say
for
that,
me, if I'm
like elaborate.
creating, like if I'm
Uh,
creating, I can't have other noise. Like I need to be focused. Like I need
uh,
to not be distracted. And so it's
no,
interesting that like you can have something on and then but be able to focus and let the creativity happen even though there's stuff going around.
I know what you're trying to say now. It's not simultaneous. It's more like bouncing back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So like, and it's not like repetitive, like really frequent. it'll be like increments. Like I'll be working for like 40 minutes, go back to watching some random thing, go back, work another 20 minutes or something. Like go back. I might do that. But like also having people in the room. I usually don't like to have people in the room. I like to be in my own like realm, you know what I'm saying, while I'm like recording and stuff, because like it makes me think too hard to be conscious while people are watching me. I've done it before, you know what I'm saying? When I go to the homie's house, me and my friends, we record songs together or wherever. It's fun. I love that. But usually I like to be in my own, like oftentimes when I record, it's like 3, 4 in the morning and it just feels like the whole world is asleep. You know what I'm saying? I'm like the only one up. And if it, like everything's shut off. So like it's Langston's world now. And it's just like peaceful. And I think so that's when I understand that definitely, because that's how I am too. Like it's a real calming environment you create for you. So yeah, it's special.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it really interesting because I also cannot create with people in the room. Like it I say cannot, I'm capable of doing it, but it's not my like preferred space. Even if it has nothing to do with them, I much prefer just being alone, being able to just get in the zone. Whereas like just other people in your area just
Yeah.
feels different. It feels like, as you said, you have to be wary of them and you don't want to be annoying or you don't want to distract them. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, why am I here? Because this is not where I get the best work done.
Yeah, yeah. Or sometimes your brain will like, like you might not want nobody to hear what you're doing right this second because it sounds super crazy or it sounds really weird. It's like they're gonna be like, like it won't. I'm like, no, bro, just give it a minute. Hold on. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Like it makes you think like, oh, how is it gonna? But that's that weird mindset, like happen, you know what I mean? Don't try and get caught up in whatever. Even if people are around, like, you know, just try to yeah, you gotta just try to keep it in your own head, I
Yeah.
guess.
It's so weird like being and like it's interesting hearing you like being someone I'm sure a lot of people look up to and a lot of people like look at your music and they're like god damn like what you've managed to achieve is so impressive but then hearing all the weird stuff that you go through mentally like still like every single other person which is like you're like don't worry like believe me it'll get better than this like it just sounds just that whole journey I think it reminds me personally of like that you're still a person also sometimes we forget that the artists that we listen to we just hear the finished product and we're like they just might they're almost unflawed because they just make banger after banger, great song after great song, but we don't really see the creative process very often.
That's always such a weird. I talk with this with my artist friends about this. Like it's such a weird perspective. Like, like I'm not like as big as like, like Drake and all these dudes, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm very much on my come up still, but I realize, like you said, there's people in my DMs, they hit me like, yo, like I look up to you. I mean, like I take inspiration from you. You inspire me to make my first song. You inspire your music helps me through my day or help like that's like really amazing to hear these things. And when I read these comments, sometimes I see somebody, like they'll be like, yo, man, I know you're not gonna see this. You're probably not gonna see this. I'm like, I'm sitting there eating cereal. Like I'm looking at it right now. Like I'm chilling, bro. I'm like sitting here eating the same cereal you probably just ate. Like I might even live down the street from you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's really interesting. Um, yeah, that I think that's what's so beautiful about it. That's what makes that's what makes it possible to connect with your favorite artists is when they show themselves, you know what I'm saying, through the music and through their likeness, or just how they carry themselves, you know what I'm saying? Like when you listen to somebody, I listen to Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, like the two of my favorite artists, you know what I mean? Many others, like I don't know them. I don't know them personally. I don't know everything about them, but like just through interviews or their music, like they just pour themselves out in a very like genuine way where it can make it a connection. You can have like a real connection to like what they're saying. And I think that's really important. I try to do that through the music. I try to do that through conversations like this and through DMs, whatever, because that's what it's about for me. That like what you're saying right there, that's what it's all about. Like the people, like connecting. Like I love this. I do this because I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love making music, so I do it for me, but I do it to connect and for them too. You know what I'm saying? It's for us. And I do it for that. So it's like that's like a really crazy and amazing thing to sit and think about. What you talking about right now? It's like wow, you know, keep connecting with somebody I never met. I never seen them before, but I made an impact in their life. And that's crazy to me. That's the most beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
I always feel like the first time you realize that is a wild time because
Mm.
throughout your whole journey, you're always looking at yourself. You're like, how can I get better? How can I improve? I want to achieve X, Y, Z. And then there is always a turning point where you're like, oh, I'm having impact on people or people resonate with my stuff. Do you remember that time? Do you remember what it was for you that got you to be like, oh, this is actually bigger than just myself?
Um, oh man. When I think I got a message from some oh man, there's a kid that's a fan of mine in a I forgot. I think it's in maybe uh Belgium, maybe or something like that. And he sent me this video. Um, I said his dad asked me if I could send him a message like for his birthday, just like telling him happy birthday. So I did. I was like, yo, man, like, I mean, happy birthday. I heard he plays soccer and all that. I was like, bro, you're gonna kill it on your soccer game, bro. Do your thing, bro. You know what I mean? Score for me, just score, do your thing, score, or whatever. I don't even know what I said, bro. I was like, it was Christmas time. I think that's what it was. And I was just like, just trying to show love. And and the dude, he hit me, the kid sent me a video back. Like he drew a picture of me as like this character and it wrote the lyrics to one of my songs, Pressure. And he just told me what it meant to him, like me sending that message. And he was just telling me how much like I inspired uh him, through that song or whatever. And I was just like, I was just so touched by that. Like he's like probably like he was like a 9-year-old kid, I think, or like 8 or something. And I'm like, dang, it's like a little kid, like this inspired. And I'm just like, that's incredible. Like I'm just some dude in my basement, like doing my thing, but like somebody in a different country, it's like I was able to something so innocent and simple like that. Uh, that just shows like, wow, this music thing is super powerful, bro. Like that really, I cried watching that video. The kids sent me, I did, and like it just like that was really amazing, and just stuff like that. It's the small things like that that show me this is big. It's not like looking at the numbers, like getting 1 million streams or stuff like that is amazing. That's crazy. That's awesome. But what really shows it is the people, that direct interaction. That's why I can't wait to like do my first tour. You know what I'm saying? And like when you connect with your people, that's the realest. That's as real as it gets. It don't get no more realer than that. There's nothing realer than that with the music. And that's what shows this is bigger. This is like beyond the microphone. It's beyond the guitar strings, piano keys. It's past any of that. It's like energy. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's about. Like I said, that's the realest thing for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Small things like that. It's them little things like that that just show me, wow, I'm really out here like able to connect with people like that. And that's always was the goal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know everything. I don't got a whole, I'm not like, but whatever I do know, whatever I do learn, my own little experiences in my own world, I package it and just put it out and speak my truth and vibe, have fun, all of that at this, you know, and hope somebody next door, down the street, across the country, a different country, or wherever, can hear that and get the same feeling that kid. That's what I think about. That I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because like, you know, the evolution of your headspace evolves over time as you see that. And I think that what people forget is that you also grow and that you also learn. And then all of a sudden, it's like a different type of pressure. Like you now are aware of your impact on a lot of people. And so now you're like, well, I'm not just doing it for myself. That's how I have to do to be able to make genuine music. But all of a sudden, like there are people who are genuinely waiting for me to drop music, genuinely like I'm their favorite artist or they're just, they cannot wait. And so you've got people who are watching your every move and really riding with you. Do you ever feel that? Or are you pretty good at separating the two?
Bro, I do think about that. I try not to get like caught in that thinking too hard, but I do realize, I mean, like, dude, it shocks me. Like, last year, you know how Spotify they do that thing where you can show your top artists you listen to at the end of the year. I mean, I had people like tagging me in their posts, like, dude, you were my number one on my Spotify. Like, bro, his top five was like Drake and Lil Wayne and Eminem and like like and I'm like I made it to the top of that whole list like a bunch of people like that. I'm like, dude, these are goats. This is a goat. I'm like, you kidding me? I think Jay-Z might have been in there too or something. I don't even know. And I was just like, what? Blows my mind. And like obviously, like I like I want to be as the best I can and I want to be someone's favorite artist. That's amazing. But it's just crazy to see it. You know what I'm saying? That's like something you dream about. And when you see it, it's just like surreal. The biggest honor. It's the hugest honor. Like, bro, there's so many songs that get uploaded every day. Like so many artists out here. Like the fact that like there's this feature on Spotify, it shows how many people are listening to you like right now. And I'm like, bro, like somebody's listening to me right now out of everybody in the world. They taking the time to listen to Langston Bristol. It's incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, could never take it for granted. It's just like wow, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, so
I
that
mean,
is like it's crazy.
you're probably at that point where there is at least one person in the world listening to a song of yours almost 24/7.
Dude, yeah, that little feature, I've checked that feature at the weirdest times too. Like, I've been up at like late. I stay up late oftentimes recording or doing whatever, and I look at it. It'd be like 6 a.m. It's like some people on there listening. I'm like, what? Like somebody way past their bedtime, or they're way up super early. Put me in their morning playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. Hey, good morning to them. Yeah, good morning to you. You know what I mean? Like that's cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. I would definitely look at that way too much. Way too much. I'd be
I'm not
like,
gonna lie.
when am I
I
peaking?
I do get caught in that sometimes. And it's just like, because then this brings up the conversation of like getting caught up in numbers and like streams and ups and downs, dips and whatever. And it's just like, obviously the goal is to grow. I want to go as far as I can go, get as big as I can with this. I love it. But like, you gotta have a healthy relationship with like the hustle and grind, and also protecting your mind. You know what I mean? It's at the same time hustle and grind, but protect your mind at the same time. So like, and a way you can do that is it's important to pay attention to those things like metrics, analytics, whatever, all that. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why I hear about a lot of artists when they drop music, they don't even look at social media. Like a lot of the biggest artists when they drop music, they don't even go on social media and see about it. I do be involved in all. I'll have to at this level, like, but I love doing that too. But like that can be a stressor. Like it's like while it's a cool thing to have, it also can make you just like a lot.
Yeah. I think it like can you just got to be able to control it within your own headspace, because if you only make those decisions of like purely based on like numbers, it can get overwhelming and you become overly critical of your music and your creative pathway, because you're like, this song dropped, it didn't get as much numbers, but like as an artist, you're on a creative journey as well. Like you're trying to figure something out. It's not just like, oh, I need to do this and this, but it's like you're trying to figure out your own path as you grow, as you get older, as you experience more life. You're also going through a journey. And so the numbers are important, as you said, but being overly obsessed with them takes away from your art. It starts to detract because you're starting to focus on the thing that actually didn't get you to where you are right now. You're focusing on just the result, not the craft itself.
Yeah, because you might find yourself in a position where you're making music for the for like in a specific ways for like stream wise, where it's like, I mean, like I mean, for me, at least for me, like the most authentic way for me to grow my fan base as I want to continue is just being myself, doing what I already enjoy and feel natural at doing. And the people that enjoy that will find me. You know what I'm saying? So like at that point, all the people that become fans of me and support me, all I got to do is just keep being me because that's what they rock with. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That's why they listen to me, is because I do my thing. I don't have to like chase a certain sound or try and do a certain thing, but I know and do things in my own way and evolve naturally. That's the best way to, for me in my mind, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Do you get
That's the best.
people when you tell them you're an artist, or they find out, like for me personally, when they find out I have a podcast, guaranteed probably within the first 3 questions is how many people listen to you. And it's like, that is such an annoying question, because it's like, you're just trying to gauge where on the clout meter I am and whether you got to be impressed because a lot of people listening to me. And so that's what it's always like. It's like they're just testing. And so I always avoid those questions purely because I'm like, even if it's a huge number, it feels like I'm bragging, and I'm like, oh yeah, this number, and I'm just like, let's just chill. Like I'm just enjoying making the content, and like you're now asking me about numbers. I look at numbers all the time of like where I'm charting, how I'm doing, but like it is just a weird thing that strangers think that way as well. That's the first thing they're always looking at. Hey, how many numbers do you get?
Yeah, a lot of times people just, I think the way it specifically goes for me more so is if they ask me like, what do you do? You go to school or where do you work? Like, or whatever. I'm just like, I'm an artist. Um, that's my main thing I'm focusing on. And they'll be like, oh yeah, cool. Let me look you up. And they look me up. And uh a lot of times, I think a lot of times people are kind of shocked because like, a lot of their friends might do music and stuff, but like, maybe they just haven't progressed much, or they just started, or like, so like they see like, oh man, like, whoa, you have like a lot of streams, or like, whoa, you work with Logic, you work with and it's like like I feel the same way. I feel weird talking about myself sometimes. I don't like always want to just sometimes I feel weird talking about because it feels like I'm like, yeah, I know what you're saying about that. It's just like, but I'm like, yeah, I have. That's what I do because I'm proud of it. I love it. It's fun, So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's weird doing it with people you don't know, or like you haven't like got into the headspace to be able to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when it's a surprise conversation about it, you're like, I didn't really prepare for this, and this conversation is just, it's probably not going to be the most exciting. Like you've probably had that conversation hundreds of times. I've had that conversation hundreds of times. I know exactly how they go. I know exactly what questions they're going to ask me and what they're going to talk about. So I find it a little bit like, all right, like now it's all of a sudden the perception of me is a little bit different. Um, I don't know. I find it weird. I haven't figured out personally how to navigate it within myself to be like, I'm comfortable here in this conversation.
yeah, I'm cool with it, like for real, because like I mean that's the name of the game too. Like being an artist, it's like people find out about you. You want more people to find out, So it's like, hey, this is a new person learning about me. That's cool. Maybe they'll check my stuff out too. Like I mean, I don't mind. I think it's fun. I love talking about music. I love music. So you want to talk about music, let's talk about it. But like, sometimes um like I don't know if I'm like in a room full of people and it's just like all of a sudden all the energy is just directed towards me on that. I feel like, oh, I gotta sit here and talk about myself. Like I'm trying to look a certain way. I don't know. But sometimes I think it just makes me look like that. I don't know, but it's not though, because
Yeah.
people are fat. Like people, whenever people do ask me about my stuff, they're like, it's like this. Like they're like, whoa, like they really like enjoy hearing it. They're like fascinated. I tell them my story or whatever, so like they really enjoy it. So it's cool. At the end of the day, I
Yeah.
know it'll be a fun conversation,
One of my
for
friends loves to
them,
do it to
and
piss me
I
off.
enjoy it too.
One of my friends loves, like, we're just at a cafe and
What's that?
he's just like, oh, he has a podcast. And they're like, really? And I'm like, this is not the conversation I wanted to have at breakfast today. I just wanted to to chill and have a good time. And you're just telling the waiter that I have a podcast, and now I have to awkwardly explain. And especially because like they're also just living their life doing work, and now they're stuck in an awkward conversation because they're obviously trying to make me happy. And now I have to navigate this weird place. And I'm like, man, you always fucking do this shit to me. Just feel free not to tell random strangers when that I do a podcast that have no intention of listening.
Oh man. Yeah, bro. Um, dang, I hope a computer ain't messing up too bad. You can still see me and hear me?
Yeah, I think it just freezes up every now and again. I think it's more
Uh,
the
you can
the internet. I can still hear you, but it just freezes up
yeah,
every
bro.
now
My
and again.
connection, yeah, my okay, yeah, my connection is a little weak down here, just a little bit. But but no, yeah, bro. I see what you're saying. Like, is if you're in a situation where it just don't feel natural for you to be in that conversation, it can make you feel out of place, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because this is something I've always been interested, especially in you, is how many instruments you can actually play. Because I know you learned drums, I know you did piano, you were saying you do guitar, but like, are they the main three, or do you have other instruments that you can play as well?
So I played electric guitar, bass guitar, drums, and piano, and I have a trumpet. I own a trumpet, but I don't count that, you know what I'm saying? Like I can barely play it. I have one song that I made with my trumpet. It took me like 2 hours to play four notes, probably longer than that. I'm being gracious. I'm pretty sure it was like as long, but so like you know what I'm saying. I almost passed out trying to play that thing. Like it's just, I gotta the technique is not formulated or fully developed yet. You know what I'm saying? Once I get it right though, I mean Miles Davis, you know what I'm saying? Langston Davis, you know what I'm saying? Like playing crazy, but yeah, those are the ones
Yeah. Do you
soon
feel?
enough in due time.
Yeah, I was going to say, once you learn one instrument, is it significantly easier to pick up the others? Like, do you start to see things across music in terms of music theory that you're like, oh, it's just kind of getting used to the new actions or the new techniques, but I kind of understand what makes sense when you're picking it up?
Yes, yes, that's a good question, bro. That's how I taught myself guitar because I played piano and I bought a guitar on impulse out of impulse. It's like I was like I need a guitar. I've been seeing them for the longest time. I know people that play them. That's the next one. I gotta learn. That's the next one I want to learn. I bought a guitar. At first, my fingers was hurting, killing me. I was like, damn, like it's I just like, oh my God, it was the worst. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know how to make chords. I didn't know any of that. Like, but um I think I watched a few videos on scales to kind of help me get an idea of which string is which. And then, but that from that point on, I just did it by ear, just trying to make things that made sense because that's what I did. How I taught myself piano. I play piano by ear. I just make put notes together that make sense in my head. So I was like, I'm just gonna press notes on my guitar that make sense in my head. And I did that repetition, and it gave me a sort my own language with the guitar. Like I've had people try and ask me, like, "Yo, can you teach me a little bit of guitar?" I'm like, "Bro, I don't even know how I taught myself guitar. It's like a very specific language I speak with myself and the guitar. I don't even know how to interpret it to some, but like so, but I basically use the same kind of brain method. I guess I have totally different, it's just strings, keys, but it's kind of like the same method I use in a way. So it does cross over a little bit. They're
Yeah.
different for sure, different, but it crosses over a little bit.
Yeah. Because I
Mm.
think it's almost like playing sport in a weird way. Like if you do one particular sport and then you start playing another, you kind of find certain things, although they're different, you find certain things you've already learnt in one particular sport that transitions into another where you can maybe move your body differently, or you just start to see similarities in technique, similarities in gameplay, and you really start to develop. I think a lot of pro athletes have played multiple sports when they were kids, so they get like a real kind of mental combination of all these different actions and they can combine it in a unique way. And I think, I mean, that's the key with your music. I love that people like, hey, can you teach me? And you're like, I have no idea how I taught myself. So it's
Oh,
going to be pretty
that's what
tough.
I'm trying to say, dude. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just feel like I wouldn't be doing you just like somebody offered to pay me to give their husband like guitar lessons. And this is the most recent instrument I've learned over the past like 2 years. And I'm like, I just don't feel comfortable accepting money for this. I don't know if I would do him justice properly. I can tell you the best guitar player that I know personally. I'll tell them somebody else I know he's the best guitar player that I know ever, or like that I've ever met. Like I mean, he's like my big brother. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, yeah, I can tell you hit him up, but I just, I don't know. I feel comfortable with myself. I'm still very learning a lot. I'm still, even though it's been a couple years and I made a lot of songs with it. Um, I'm still very much in that growth stage with them. But I love it though. It's fun. I love playing instruments so much, bro. It's super fun. And I want to go back to that point you made about sports. That's a good point. Like most sports, all of them involve teamwork at the end of the day. Like regardless of the techniques you're using, there's a lot of fundamentals like having good chemistry with your teammates, eye coordination, hand-eye coordination, being able to like have good reflexes. Like these are things that's like simple like techniques that you can apply to like basically every sport. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, little tiny mentalities that you can cross over with different instruments. You know what I'm saying? That's a that's an interesting That's a good question. That's a good thing you brought up. That's because that's really true, at least for me. I found that to be true. That helped out a lot.
Yeah, because I spoke to I think his name was Masbo Q. He's a New Zealand artist, and he does things on TikTok that's like, how do you rap and like how do you hit beats and make sure you're rapping to beats and change your flow up and like different
Mm,
techniques with when it comes to being able to do it. And I asked him for someone who sings and wants to learn, chord progressions, because it's if you're self-taught, you don't really know music theory. He was like, the best thing to do is learn piano. Like if you learn the piano, you'll learn the basics of music theory, chord progressions, and you'll start to understand it differently as opposed to just learning with your voice. Like piano will teach you a lot that you'll be able to transition into other areas of music.
yeah, I like. I'm gonna give you something. One of the reasons why trumpet was like really hard. Like I haven't really picked it up in a while too. But one of the reasons I think why trumpet is like wind instruments are like harder for me to learn is because I'm so used to being visual. Like piano, I can draw it out in my mind. Like I can see the notes and put them together and see which ones I'm hitting and paint the picture like that. With a trumpet, it's a little different. Like you don't necessarily see what you're hitting. You have to like blow your breath in a certain amount and in a certain speed and a certain like, and then you do have like there are I sound like such a like I don't know what I'm talking about, but like the little button thing, you know what I'm saying? The little buttons on
Yeah.
there. You do have those, like you still have to like blow your breath in a certain specific way to hit high notes and a different specific way to hit low notes, like a slower amount of breath and like warmer air. I think they say you have to kind of make your air warm, something like that. And that's just like my brain, the way I grew up playing instruments, seeing drums, looking at the toms, looking at the snare, the hi-hat cymbals, painted, visual, like looking at the keys, you know what I'm saying? Like minor, major notes and all of that and just putting them together like that. Even my guitar, looking at all the frets, all the strings, you know what I'm saying? I can see what I'm doing. So it's very much different. It's a different world, but that excites me about it too. It's like a challenge. It's different. It's really different. So that's why I'm super excited to get better at it and learn it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. I think breath control is something that everyone forgets about. Like just that is a skill of just, and we have didgeridoos here in Australia as like that's an instrument that's from Indigenous Australians. And essentially it's just this long wooden, I don't know what it's made from, but it's like this long instrument. And the the people who can play it essentially have to be able to breathe in through their nose and breathe out through their mouth simultaneously so that there's no break in music. So there's this constant flow of air coming through their body to be able to create this sound that's coming through the didgeridoo. If you haven't checked it out, for anyone that's listening, I highly recommend. But as a skill set, and I've tried, like I used to be a swimmer. That was my sport when I was growing up, was swimming. And so you tend to be pretty good with
Yeah.
breath control, but it's holding your breath that you get good at as opposed to the constant flow of in and out. And I'm just amazed at that. I've tried and I'm like, I have no idea how the fuck they do it. It's honestly amazing.
Oh, is that instrument that has like the deep like roll?
Yeah, that's
That
exactly
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen anybody with one in person before. That would be a crazy experience. That's like it's like one of those. I think it's one of those instruments that has like its own famous name, like its own famous like it's like famous in a way because it's probably been like in like movies and stuff. Like you kind of heard it, like that noise before, like around. I've heard it like commercials and stuff. It's like famous. And I actually would be curious to hear it in a piece of music. I don't think I've ever heard it in a piece of music before. So like that'd be kind of cool. You should send if you send me like Australian artist you know or somebody that's used it before. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. Well, hey, you could put it into your own music. I mean, there's a huge lane that is probably untapped, especially in hip hop.
Hey,
Like, yeah.
are they large? Aren't they like really like long
Yeah.
or large instruments?
Yeah. So they usually, I think, don't quote me on this, but like they're probably like you
Yeah.
can play it standing. Like it is big. So we have whenever there's a big sporting event and we do like a welcome to country, we do have like indigenous like players and instruments, and we do that kind of stuff. I remember seeing it at school. We had someone play the didgeridoo, and I've tried to play it, and I cannot play it. It's really difficult. Like genuinely, it looks like the most simple instrument in the world just because it's like just long. And you're like, okay, this seems pretty straightforward. But yeah, the technique behind it is wild and insanely complicated. But I reckon there is a huge lane there for to be able to sample it or to be able to use the instrument for like a blend of music within R&B, within hip hop, within a bunch of genres.
That's I'll tell you this, bro. A goal of mine is to learn as many instruments as I can before I die. Like before I'm out of here, I want to have a harp. You know what I'm saying? One day in my house, I want to have a different different countries and all that, like different like types of drums, different like all of that. You know what I mean? I would love to just get a collection, a room full of different instruments and use them in my songs, my albums, all that. That would be super, super dope. I always going to realize that instrument that has strings is like the cello. Cause no, like at least on the ones I saw, so it's just like the strings going down. So it would be hard for me to figure out like which notes are which. I never, I never touched one before. I never tried to play one. That's I gotta go find one to try it out.
Sorry, you just cut out while you were talking about the cello. Do you mind saying
Oh,
that again?
yeah, yeah, bro. I was saying like I was saying like there's no like on the guitar, you know, there's like frets. There's like bar frets. So like I'm trying to figure out like, on a separation of like the notes. So I'll be hard to figure out which note is which for me in my brain. I've never even touched one before. So like I'll be curious to learn like how to even I always how do you know where in a way, but like that's insane to me, man.
Well, you're talking to a guy who doesn't know any instruments, so I'm always like, I to be honest, doing it all is kind of insane. I remember trying to do keyboard when I was in high school, and I could never really get the finger. I don't know, it just didn't click for me. I think maybe it was to the class. We did it like once a week, and I was like, this kind of I don't know. Maybe it's the type of learning that it was, but I always just felt that I never really clicked with it. So I now that I'm older, I'm like, I do have a musical ear, obviously. I do like music enough to talk about it and genuinely have interest in it. But there was something as a kid that just didn't click with it for me. I don't know what that was.
Dang. Yeah, you should pick it up, pick it back up, give it another shot. I
Yeah,
mean, it's one of them things. Cause also like, I mean, you're like, wait, when's the last time you think you tried to play one?
decade at least.
Or so you're probably like teenager or younger.
I was probably 14 or so, I reckon.
I feel you. Sure. Yeah, being older, maybe your brain is like, you know, you got a little bit more development up there. Maybe you might be able to tap in a different way. You might be able to like wrap your head around the concept a little better now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I do find it interesting, like the combination of sounds, the combination of like, and then how people find their own style of, you're using a bunch of sounds that have been around forever, but you're using it in a different combination and you're finding a rhythm and you're finding a cadence and you're like, and I like that idea. I like the creativity within a set boundary of like, there's no rules, but there is a limit in a way. It's kind of, I don't know, it's weird to explain, but I love that that is everyone's capable of that, of literally going, hey, I'm going to do it in this combination, in this order, and I'm going to experiment and do all these different things.
I think that's part of what makes it is, yeah, like there's like only like so many notes, so many combinations, but the fact that you're able to dig up a song or dig up this chord and dig up this chord and put together a time signature and then add these notes and this whole combination and then make it something like fresh and new out of something that's been around for so long and chords that have been played before or notes that have been played before, but you play it in your style and your own way, your own spin. That's what makes it new. That's what makes something that's uh my bad, man. You can still
Oh,
hear
good.
me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, yeah, I started getting the call, man. What in the world?
I was like, did you just start playing piano? And then I was like, no, that's a phone call.
DNG, bro. I just be like, dun, 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 dun. I literally dance before I pick up the phone. I like, dun, 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 dun. But yeah, bro. Um, what was I saying? What was I saying, bro? Before that,
You were talking about how you can dig
uh,
up notes, how you can like dig up and kind of create your
yeah.
own
So,
music.
it's like, yeah. So it's just like, having like, as they say, like nothing's new under the sun, right? But what makes it new is the fact that it came like from like a new like nothing's new under the sun, but at the same time, it gets a new spin. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like we create our own versions of things. We create our own um and that goes back like yeah, go your identity, you know what I mean? Nobody else is on this earth that's you. Even though like we all have like similarities, there are differences. There are new things. But it's just like it's like new but familiar at the same time, you know what I'm saying? So like that's what's so amazing about like creating chords, creating songs, because it's like it's something new, but at the same time it's familiar too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like really amazing. That's like super amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and I think that goes
And
back
some
to,
things are, oh, I was gonna say some things are new too. I mean, like, cause I mean when they made autotune, that was something like totally like left field. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when T-Pain came out doing autotune and stuff, everybody was like, yo, what? Like, like, he really pioneered that like a lot. Like, I mean, he the GOAT of autotune for real. I mean, so many people have used it, but I'm pretty sure I may be messing up, but I'm pretty sure he was like really the first one to really put a name to autotune. T-Pain. I'm trying to think if somebody might have been, but T-Pain is that guy with it, you know what I'm saying? And what he did with it is like unforgettable. And that was something totally new in its time when it first started getting popular. And that's like, so that's really exciting, you know what I'm saying? When stuff comes out, new technologies that people can use and flip or stuff like that. That's really cool too. Technology plays a good role in music too. Plugins, you know what I'm saying? Like reverb, you know what I'm saying? Like freaking all types of different like um effects you can put on your vocals. I mean, I've never used autotune before, but I even thought about doing it once just to try it out on a song. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have it on my computer, but I thought about getting it just to see what it would sound like. You feel me? Like for a song, just for fun, just to try out new things and evolve. You know what I mean? Try something out, like for one. one track or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, autotune's been out for decades. So it's been around for ages. It's just like, as you said, T-Pain was the guy who
Yeah, because I was
first,
about to say they had it back in like what, the 80s, probably 70s.
yeah, they've had it
So
for
it was something like that.
ages. They just never used it. So it wasn't even like that new technology.
Yeah.
Like it just, no one had figured out how to use it or blend it with their voice. Cause I'm sure people were like, what the hell is this? It's ruining my vocals as opposed to amplifying my vocals.
So it seemed like maybe it was just something that had been there. It just needed someone to kind of just blow the dust off it and like really like use it for its full potential. I guess maybe people didn't know its full potential. Some things, yeah, you just like, they got the full potential has to be explored. And it did. You know what I'm saying? That had 10 potential. Buy you all that, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool, bro. That stuff is so amazing. Uh, it's cool to think about stuff like that.
But I do feel weird sometimes about auto tune because T Pain does it amazingly. But then I feel like there are a number of artists who just throw it on for the sake of throwing it on. Like they didn't master the craft or they didn't figure out how
Mm,
to blend it. And it's so identifiable. Like the thing about T Pain, which I always thought was amazing, was you never really knew whether it was auto tune or just his voice. He seemed to get it in a way where it was
mm,
just the blend was imperceptible. It would just sounded his vocals were just on point for exactly where they needed to be in order for auto tune to just hit correctly. But then you saw artists who didn't
yeah.
have that same eye or ear for it, and it was just so different. And you're like, it's too much now. Like the difference between what you're bringing and the auto tune felt off.
Mm. I feel like with T-Pain, like, cause he can sing without it. That's one thing about him. Like without it, he has a good voice. He can do runs and all that. So like I feel like him having a good voice collided with it, gave it such a specific tone that you can really only hit if you have like a really like good voice. If you have a good voice before auto tune, you know what I mean. But and also like because there's so many. Because like think about it, like take T Pain, Travis Scott, and Young Thug. Do not sound. None of them sound alike, but they
No,
all use auto tune. So like your vocal, the tone of your voice, the delivery, all of that plays into how that's gonna sound. Like all three of them are amazing with it. Like three of I'm fans of all of them, and like they all three of them I feel like very well use auto tune like in such a way that's like really compelling and stylistic. Like it's just like so them. It fits them perfectly because it's a tool. Because like auto tune, at the end of the day, it's like an instrument as well, or it's a tool. You know what I'm saying? It's not just something that's there. You have to like remember that it's you're using a tool. So like because of that, you got to be like intentional with it. And it's like I said, I've never used it, but like, I feel like anybody, if you're an artist working in a studio with an engineer, I feel like, any good engineer would like make sure like you're set up in the best way to have a good delivery, you know what I'm saying? Like a good run through with it. Cause I've only seen it used before. I've never used it, but I saw my boy uh, Brian, he was using it with one of my friends, and I just kind of was just taking a back seat, paying attention to like the chain and like, him setting the key up and all that. Like it's really like specific how you got to use it. Um, so I'm just only speaking from experience of somebody that observed it, but like I feel like yeah, you gotta like really that goes into that just like that experimental phase, learning how you want to use your voice, your inflections, your delivery. I feel like you can, that's how you're gonna find your style with it. Because whether you use it or not, that's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I have to do. That's what I had to do. And what I'm still doing. I'm still learning my style. But I mean, like when I first started writing, I was like sounding like Eminem, like Kendrick. I was doing their little voice and cadence. My tone was kind of sounding like them until I practiced more and more and learned to just talk like myself and deliver, my own, what I'm saying, vibe or whatever. It feels natural for me. Um, so I think at some point, everybody has to go through that.
Yeah. Well, that's the three names that you brought up. I actually think the perfect names because Travis Scott was the next one on my list, and yeah, Young Thug. Just what they did was they separated from the pack of being like
Bro,
the this is like the masterclass on how to use it. And as you said, they're all different. They all have their own unique voice, their own unique style. Like when Travis Scott came out and he's got this song I think it's called 3500, but it's like when he's humming, he has like this hum and there's the auto tune. And I'm like, when was the last time I heard anyone
bro,
like hum and it sounds so amazing. Like it sounds so good. And I was just like, this is wild. Like that is an artist being very intentional about what they're going for and what makes sense in the music rather than just slapping it on any random project.
dude, Travis has this way when he goes in his little like lower registry and like lets it just like his auto tune like feels like it's like when he's like you said humming or like holding a note or something. It's just like feels like it's like a bass or something or and it like a synth bass or something like it's like real specific like how it resonates. Like you said, I was talking about that with somebody. Like his delivery is just crazy. And Young Thug, like he bro, like not to mention his cadence, like his delivery, like it's just crazy and stuff. And then mixed with his like kind of like high pitch, like he has like this kind of like crack in his voice, like the way he delivers, and that mixed with the auto tune, it's just like, man, I don't know, bro. It's just like you can't replicate unless you gotta really go out your way to try and because he has such a specific style, and you can hear it. He's influenced a lot of artists, like a lot of people. You can hear like many artists. I mean, there's a lot of artists that have inspired and influenced me. I mean, you always, you know, there's always somebody you're always influenced by somebody but that helps you. Like you have your own, you're yourself, and what you do is you like practice like being your own voice and things, but like you still like have inspiration around you. You take that and that kind of like it's like making a child in a way, like two two people making a new child. So it's like not that no, not that you're like a copycat of two different artists, but it's like you get inspiration from different artists, and that helps inspire your sound and birth your sound.
Yeah. Well, you have to be inspired.
um First place is you have to hear it. You know what I'm saying? You got to hear it first from somewhere, from somebody, and that stirs it up in you. And then it comes out in your way. You know what I'm saying? After hearing, stuff around you. Like, that's why I always tell artists like it's really important. I would say whatever genre you do or whatever genre you feel you specialize in, like it's important, I think, to be open-minded to like all types of genres, like, listen to all types of genres because that can help you evolve and grow your genre that you're in. Like in hip hop, like, like I listen to there's some country songs I like, a lot of people I hear a lot of people say stuff about country, they don't like it. There's a couple country songs I like even. I mean, I've heard some heavy metal songs I like, rock songs, you know what I'm saying? Like I go from, but like my main genres I listen to on a regular basis is like hip hop, R&B, jazz, and but I like a lot of rock bands. I mean, like Coldplay is like a classic for me. I grew up, my brother was playing a lot of rock music in the house, so like they're one of my top favorite bands, straight up. Like, and their melodies, their vibes are crazy. You know what I'm saying? So like I get a lot. They inspire me. Chris Martin. You know what I'm saying? So like all types of genres that helps you like evolve and grow. Like, I mean, it's just like, I mean, look at what Lil Nas did with like hip hop and country. You know what I'm saying? He put those together in his own way and it went viral like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just like real specific how he did it in his own little spin. And I think that's special. That's special. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I agree, man. And speaking of someone that you obviously worked with, you've obviously mentioned him already, and I mentioned at the beginning. But you have a track with Logic, and I can't help myself. I do want to ask about how that came about, but like, it's weird because it's happened already for you. That song is out, and now it's like, does it feel real sometimes? Like that it's even there. Like I'm sure you just live your life, and you're like, I just go about my day, and it's almost like it never happened. But
Oh,
like,
bro, I hear you. I know. No. It's definitely like surreal. Like, like it's cool. Like I mean, rappers since I was like, you know, 13 or something. Like I was like in middle school probably when I first heard him, and and in high school I remember he dropped Incredible True Story. You know what I'm saying, and all that. Like, so for me to get to meet one of my favorite artists, and I've met a few of my favorite artists and got relationships with artists that I looked up to and have wanted to meet and stuff, and including him now. And that was just so special, bro. Like, I mean, that stuff you dream about. I dreamt about that. I dreamed about all that. Like that was like, so it's just like I sometimes I sit in my bed and just think like, dang, it's so crazy. Cause you want to know something? It's so easy, even still. Like, I've gotten messages from artists that like, man, I'm trying to get like you, bro. I'm trying to get like you. And I'm just like, dang, like it really like helps you to put it in perspective because it's so easy for me to pay attention to what I don't have. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm not here. I'm not there yet. I haven't done this yet. But I'm like, dude, like I've been able to do some things that I wanted to do since a child. I've checked off some childhood dreams. You know what I'm saying? I got to work with certain people, perform with certain people, and do and hit certain milestones with my music, my own, streams and things like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like gratefulness. I kind of sidetracked a little bit, my bad.
no.
But specifically back to what you was asking about Logic, like how I met him. You want to know like how that kind of all started?
Well, I know that you've spoken about that before, to be honest. So it was more just like to understand your experience because I think that is one of the things that I mean, because I have spoken to people that I have genuinely listened to their music for a long period of time, and like I just go about my day. It's like a cool thing to reminisce on and think about, but then you just continue living your life, and you're like, every now and again, you're like, oh yeah, I've spoken to some pretty amazing people. I've had the chance to have a conversation with people that I never even thought was possible.
Yeah, yeah, bro. That stuff it really shows you just how like there's no ceiling for real. It's just a matter of like, you know, how high, how like figure out how to get that high. You know what I'm saying? Like, but there's no ceiling above you. Like anything is really possible. It's crazy because like, you know, most artists at my level where they are haven't worked with artists as big as him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not normal. So it's just like crazy. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, like that whole situation, I actually haven't talked about how that started. To be honest, you're actually the
Huh.
first person
I'm the first one. Well, then,
because I haven't even, yeah, I haven't talked or done an interview or anything like in like a little while. Um, I was because I was supposed to actually go on like a podcast a little bit ago, but I was like waiting. I was like, I'm gonna finish my album first and then go on. I can kind of talk about that project but I was just like, nah, man, I just want to talk. It's whatever. It's chill. Because these conversations like this, what we're doing, I enjoy this. It's fun. Like I'm enjoying myself. So, but yeah, I mean, it was like, basically like last year I was posting a lot. I'll keep it like long story short. I was posting a lot on my Instagram and I started growing a lot with my followers and my views and everything. And then I got a message from somebody named Joel Steingold. He's an actor. He's from here in Detroit. And he's on a TV show called The Shy. And so he hit me up and he's like, "Yo, man, I really like your music and stuff. I see you a Detroit artist and he's just showing me love. I was like, yeah, bro, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I saw he was an actor. He was telling me he's an actor and everything. I was like, yo, that's really dope. Like it's really cool to talk to him and have a conversation. And at some point during the conversation, he's like, yo, I want to see if I can get your music on the show. You know what I mean? That'd be real cool. I'm like, whoa, that'd be sick. You know what I'm saying? Like that was always a dream of mine too, to get my music on a TV show or a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm an actor too myself. That's one thing I want to do as well as act in film and direct and stuff like that. I grew up doing plays, but like, so I was like, that's cool. I didn't expect anything from it though. I was like, man, it's probably not, I don't want to expect it, like put my hopes up, you know what I mean? But it was cool. It was still cool to chop it up with him and talk with him. So like a week later, I get followed on Instagram by Lena Waithe. Lena Waithe is like a really big TV producer and actor, and she's the creator of the show. And I was like, what, bro? Like, what is going on? I was like, oh, is this really about to happen? Like, what? And then so I think I hit Joel and I told him that she followed me. He was like, cool, man, blah, blah, that's sweet. I mean, I think I got an email from her team and everything. And they sure enough hit me about wanting to put two of my songs on her show. And that was just like so amazing. I hit her up on Instagram and I just thanked her. I was like, yo, like that's I appreciate you. But I can't remember the order in which all that happened. But the next week after that, I got followed by Logic on Instagram. And I was like, bro, wait, what? I'm like tripping out. Like, this is crazy, okay? Like, what? Like, sleeping? Somebody slapped me real quick. Like, I'm like sleeping. Like, so basically, I hit. I this is what happened. I'm like, it's like so weird thinking about this. Uh, I posted a picture of it. I screenshotted it and I posted it on my story. And a lot of my fans, they was hitting me like, oh shoot, Langston, blah 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 blah. Logic's gonna sign you. He's gonna sign. They were saying all this crazy stuff. They were like, I was like, I didn't expect all that. I didn't expect it to go no further. I didn't know it was gonna go any further. I hoped it would, but I didn't know it would, and I didn't, you know, it was just cool that he followed me. I was like, oh dang, he saw me. Like, wow, that's crazy. Anyway, I check my DMs and I get a message from his manager named Justin, and he's a real cool dude. And he hit me in my DMs and was like, "Yo, man, I'm Logic's manager. Uh, he wants to speak to you. You got a number you can call?" I'm like, bro, let me make sure this dude is not fake. Like, this sounds crazy. What? Now, I did just get followed by him, but that's like, come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody saw it and they're trying to scam me or something. But I looked him up online and I vetted him out. You know what I'm saying? I looked him up on Twitter and I saw Logic follows him on Twitter and Logic's whole camp follows him on Twitter and all that. I was like, oh, this dude is for real. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just go through with it. Like, for sure. I was like, yo, man, like, what's up? I appreciate you hitting me up. I would love to talk to him. Yeah, that'd be an honor, you know what I mean? And so the next day, he didn't hit me up yet. I went back to Justin and I was like, yo, how'd you guys find me? I was like, did you see one of my videos? Because my videos I was posting, I was doing a lot of remixes. And I would take somebody's a beat and I just start putting my own lyrics on it and post it. And I did a few of his songs and I would always tag them in the bottom of the description. So I was like, y'all, did you guys like see one of my videos? I was starting to get a lot of views. So I was like, maybe it just so happened to catch. And he was like, no, Lena Waithe told us about you, the
Wow.
TV producer. I was like, wait, hold on, wait a minute, bro. You mean to tell me she went out of her way and did that? And not, I went back to her. I was just like, you are just absolutely amazing. Like, what? Like, she was just so happy that, they connected with me and all that. Like, she is literally an angel. She's like one of the most sincere, like beautiful people I've ever talked to. I haven't met her in person yet, but just that I've spoken to and gotten to know. So and Logic and his whole team, kind of the whole story. But like at some point, I get a message on my phone like, "Yo, man, what's up? This is Logic, bro." Like, and he's like hits me up, and I'm just like, "What?" I'm like, "What, bro?" You know what I'm saying? Me up, and he's like, uh, he gives me a call at the next day. He told me he was out of town. He's like, "Yo, I'm out of town right now, but when I'm back, I'll hit you like tomorrow." So and what's so crazy about the day that he hit me up, he didn't because he don't even know this. Like it's funny, like me and I never told him this yet. Uh I'm gonna tell him this is crazy I'm saying it on here though. The day he hit me up, my grandmother passed away, bro. And I
Really?
woke up that morning, yeah, the day he called me that night, but that morning, my mother called my phone and said, Langston, you know, um, she was crying on the phone and she's like, today the Lord, I wanted to let you know the doctor, called us and he let us know the Lord, took grandma home and my world showing my family, you know what I'm saying? She was uh one of the one of the strongest women ever that I've ever met in my life. And like she had enough strength for a woman and a man, anybody. You know what I mean? She was just she was just the strongest. And oh man, she was so wonderful, so funny and everything. And so that just really like was so crazy. And I was like going through that throughout the whole day with that mentality, with knowing that my grandma passed. But that night I received a call from him and it was like so special because it gave me something to just take my mind off of that for a minute and experience a cool moment on the side. Like simultaneously, my grandmother passed away, and one of my favorite rappers in the world is calling my phone in the same day. That coincidence is actually insane to think about. I never told anybody else this, like, or like in media or like I told my friends, like my close my friend, but that was I was able to just kind of be in this moment. Now I'm kind of like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. I pick up the phone, I'm talking music, bro. I checked your music out. And you're really dope, bro, and and everything. And he's like, he even went out of his way to read some articles about me. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, I've been reading about you. I see you talk musical influences, David, all these like old school jazz cats. He was like I'm in de- that time period of music and everything. And I was like, yo, I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, I love that. You know what I mean? This is, here in Michigan, you know what I mean? It's Detroit, Motown, you know what I mean? The old school, old soul music, jazz, all of that is like all in me. So but anyway, he was like, "Yeah, bro, we're just chopping it up, having a good conversation." And he's like, "I'm working on this album, called Vinyl Days. Called Vinyl Days." It's like I knew he was working on the album. He told me that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, 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 for sure, for sure." Like, yeah, bro, I got this. I got a song. I got a song with an open spot. I got a song with an open slot on it. I wanna send it to you. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, I don't care if it's Baby Shark song. I'm gonna run that thing. I don't care what it. He's like Bobby Logic is really a humble guy. Like he's so like oh yeah, of course, gonna be on with me. I'm Logic. Hey, let me like this song. You don't. Hey, it's all good. Whatever. You know what I mean? It's not what you. Yeah. But he sent me it, and it was dope. It was actually dope. I was glad about that. You know what I'm saying? And I really liked it, enjoyed it. And I was like, I sent him my verse back like the same night. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple hours later. Um, and uh, and later the next day, early in the morning, and he hit me back. He was like, "Bro, this is fire. This is super fire." I was like, I was so lit. I was turned up. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, my one of my favorite rappers heard my music and he likes my verse, about to be on his album. So that all went through, and I ended up being on his album. But it was such a weird place because simultaneously now I just got one of my favorite rappers calling me and invited me on his album. And he told me too, he was like on the phone. It was such a like so genuine, like, bro, like I just want to build a friendship with you, man. Like just hit me up whenever, you know what I mean? Holla at me. And that's what we did too. We was texting frequently and I hung out with him a couple times when we came here for some shows. You know, me and him, hung out at his shows and stuff like that. And I really, yeah, I love that guy, man. I appreciate him a lot. That's big, bro. That's like the big homie. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the big homies. And but yeah, so like but at the same, but like I said, at that time though, it's like so crazy. Like simultaneously, I'm I'm dealing with the news of my grandma while I'm going through this amazing point in my career though. and it and it's like what the heck? Like I'm it's like Hannah Montana right now. I got like Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana right now, and it's so weird. I'm like celebrating while I'm mourning at the same time. It's like one of the weirdest things I ever experienced in my whole life living. Um, and but at the same time though, you know, it's like I know my grandma in a better place, so it's really like a celebration too. You know what I'm saying? I know she had a long life and she didn't teach us to not be strong. So I know she wouldn't want me to be all like this opportunity. She wouldn't want me to spoil that and be all down on myself or and everything. So really I kept that gave me the strength too. You know what I'm saying? I was like, like this for you, granny type, you know what I mean? Type thing that's helped me to give me the strength to just carry on and enjoy the moment as if she was there with me enjoying it. So that was real special too. You know what I'm saying? Her spirit was with me. And so at the end of the day, it was really special. It's not like some bad traumatic full memory. It's a special. I mean it was traumatic for that, but it really was a special day at the end of the day because of that. Like wow, you know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like God kind of gave me that at that right timing to kind of get me in a different headspace, you know what I mean, to give me something else to think about. And that was real special. I've never had anything like that happen. Such a high and such a low. Like like it was insane, but it worked out in something really beautiful at the end of the day. And so yeah, from that point on, me and Bobby, me and Logic grew a relationship, talking back and forth, and you know what I'm saying, and I sent him one of my songs. I was like, bro, like we got to do something. We got to make a song just us one of these days or something. And he was like, bro, I'm down, like whatever. Uh, and I was like, I just started working on something. I actually didn't send him a song for a few months, like it was some months, but I had worked on one and it was my own lane. And I was like, bro, I got this track. I was like, I'm gonna send it to you. Let me know what you think. He was like, for sure. He listened to it. He was like, bro, this is like crazy. He's like, your melodies are out of this world. Like he was like, he really liked it. And that was cool. So he was on at that point, I had that's when me and him performed together too. I performed with him at that show. And that was so fun. That was so dope, man. I met Wiz Khalifa real quick, briefly. Dude is so tall. Like whatever height you think he is in person, add an inch, like add 2 inches. Like he's super tall in person, super cool. Like, like really commanding energy, like great performer. It was like a movie. It felt like I was in a hip hop, like my hip hop buyout story. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is film right now, bro. I'm back here. It's DJ Drama was there. Over here, he had like a bunch of girls with him, a iced out chain. You know what I'm saying? Wiz Khalifa over there smoking with some girls. And then I got all of a sudden I saw Flavor Flav walking past me with the clock on. I was like, where did he come from? Like literally, he was backstage chilling. Like he just showed up. And 24K Golden, he was there, he performed. And Logic, his whole camp, C. Dot Castro and Big Limbo, all them, super cool. I'm cool with them as well. And I was back there just hanging with them. We were all just, they all welcomed me, to the show camaraderie with it. It was fun, really fun. And yeah, man, like that's kind of like a brief of just how all that happened. And it's like, it's really weird. Like you never know when something crazy might happen in this game. Like this podcast and what you're doing, bro. Like you've like interviewed big names, bro. Like, you know that girl? You know that girl who like interviewed Drake?
Yeah.
Yeah. You might end up, with like a Drake interview out of nowhere, bro. Who knows? Like I'm saying, like keep doing your thing because, at the end of the day, entertainers are people, bro. They do, they might like the most like, entertainers, they want like I feel like the best type of like podcasts slash interviews are the ones like this, where it's just natural energy. You know what I mean? You're not trying to ask questions to get them to say something controversial, like, ooh, like, I mean, it's like, bro, like, what's your favorite color, man?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Well,
just chill. And I think that's
yeah,
special.
I appreciate it. And, when I started this, I was like, my biggest fear was like, people ask me sometimes, like, do you try to get like answers? And I'm like, why would I want to do that? I genuinely want to talk to the people I want to talk to. And like, I actually want you to have a good time. Like, I want to see the people that I talk to continue to progress in their career and continue talking to them because I like what they do. That's like actually my vision. And also, I'm just genuinely interested in what makes you tick. Like, so there's no value for me to like trap you and trick you into giving an answer you don't particularly want to give. So yeah, I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I agree. I've spoken to people I never thought I would speak to, and hey, you never know who's around the corner. I never thought I'd be speaking to you, and and hearing a story like that, and it just made me think about the duality of life, like that you literally experience such a high and such a low, and there's something beautiful about that. That there's a chapter in your life that closes, and it's sad, and it's upsetting, and there's something to recover, but then there's a chapter in your life that just opens. And like, you never know how these things work. You
Yeah,
never really see the universe working in the background, but it kind of does. And there's something beautiful to be able to trust in that, and trust in like things happen for a reason. And, you will go through it all. But that's all part of it, and that's all okay.
right. Yeah. Timing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always think to myself, I want to trust God's timing, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to, like to do that a lot, because it's like, dang, it didn't go how I wanted. You know what I'm saying? It didn't go what I thought it was gonna happen. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, at the end of the day, you got to trust the process of your own life. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to allow things to happen and learn from them when they do, whether they're good or bad. And and a lot of times, that bad stuff is the things that strengthen you the most for real. So they're very necessary. I mean, but it is, so it is what it is. But like I said, there's beauty in it too, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, you celebrate someone's life when they leave. You know what I'm saying? You should celebrate while they're here, obviously, but you know what I'm saying? Like that person, like when at some point I'm gonna leave out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna clock out like it's like my last day at work. Okay, I'm about to quit or whatever. So like, one of these days I gotta leave this place. And if I have kids or something, I mean, I want them to, celebrate, what I'm saying? Just remember them good moments we had, them laughs, the jokes we told and things like that, you know what I mean? Focus on that. Don't let it kill you, you know what I'm saying? Let it give you more life at the end of the day, in a way. You know what I mean? Let it inspire you to want to have more moments so you can cherish those moments. Because that's what we got on this earth is, moments. Time doesn't stop, but at the same time, time doesn't have to get forgotten, and time doesn't have to be meaningless. It can be, it's that's why I told my friends, I was like, bro, we got to take pictures more. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy to hang out. Like, I think a lot of guys do this sometimes. You can hang out with your friends. You didn't take a picture at all. Like, what? Like, yo, let's flick up. Like, you know what I mean? Let's take a picture, post up. Everybody post up. Let's take a cool photo. I like doing photo shoots anyway. Like, it's real fun. Even so, if you have like a camera or whatever, like, let's just take some cool photos together because we can remember this day. You know what I mean? That day we randomly went skating, and got some freaking, coney dogs or whatever, like some burgers. Like, it's just like random little tiny moments like that we can look back on 10 years from now. And I got pictures with my grandmother. I got pictures with my cousins and stuff like that. And it'll be nice to look at those 30 plus years from now, whatever. So yeah, cherishing the time you got and the people you got while they're here. Because it's so easy to get caught up in your own day. You know what I'm saying? Not calling people. I'm like, dang, bro. Like, I haven't talked to my cousin in a while. I haven't talked to my auntie in a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate when I get into that mode. Like, man, I gotta make sure you know, make sure you lock in more memories, lock in more moments together. That's
Yeah.
real important.
Well, I
But like,
think,
like you said, that duality,
yeah, duality
that
of
duality
life,
is salt
man.
and pepper, bro. Like sweet and sour. That sweet and sour is crazy.
Yeah. But hey, you don't appreciate it without it. That's the beautiful thing is like you can't appreciate the good moments without the sour moments as well. Like
Yeah,
they go hand in hand. There's something about being able to feel the full spectrum of your emotions. But I think that's the perfect way to end the podcast, to be honest, is like, live your moments, appreciate the moments and, cherish them for what they are. But then when they're gone, be able to celebrate them as well and
yeah,
not just sit in the sorrow of like, it's gone and it's finished, but it's also beautiful because it happened. And there's like, I think that's life is like everything comes to an end at some stage, whether by choice, whether not by choice, but it all comes to an end. But if you can appreciate it in the moment and you can appreciate it when it's gone, then your life will be significantly better.
yeah, bro. Yeah, yeah. Being open to the unknown. That's like it's scary, but there's beauty in the unknown. Like you said, like it's like, you know, it's exploring. It's explorative, you know what I'm saying? You never know what'll happen. And also like you said, you gotta have both. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like the good times are really good because it could be bad times, but it wasn't. And it's like you know what I'm saying? That's just the kind of the way it is. So it's like, having the opposite helps that be really, really good. And yeah. But it's real hard though, but necessary.
Yeah.
And there's
Well,
beauty
man,
in it.
I appreciate you and I appreciate the time that we've had, we're definitely going to have to do it again, because I genuinely am like, I feel like I could just talk to you all day, and like we could just find random stuff to go on about. But it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Absolutely amazing to see the things that you're doing, and it fills myself with confidence in terms of like my own journey and my own path, and to be able to trust in the process. But also, I know your fans are also being able to see you and take a lot of motivation and a lot of inspiration for you. So yeah, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. Is there anything you wanted to plug or shout out?
Yeah, I'm finishing my next album called Highway of Life. I don't have a release date on it. A lot of people have been hitting me like, yo, when is the album gonna be done, bro? But it's on the way. It's called Highway of Life. All the singles that I'm releasing lately are from the album. The album is basically kind of like me taking the concept of like, you know, we're all like in our own like vehicle of our own life, and we're on a pathway somewhere, and on our pathway, you know, there's potholes, there's different turns and twists and traffic jams and all that. Like it's just like I take this whole like the life experience and my life experience particularly specifically and put it in the form of like a highway journey. So that's kind of like the whole concept of the album. And like basically like every song kind of has to do with like a car in a way, like driving or something. It's like to fit in with the theme of that. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on, and I'm dropping another song that's not from the album probably in a couple weeks. So yeah, that's I don't have a date for that. I hate that I don't.
To be
But
honest,
that,
that'll probably be out
yeah,
by the
but
time this drops.
I got a lot of stuff coming. I got a lot of stuff. Kind of like early October probably.
Yeah, that'll probably be out
So
by the time this drops,
yeah.
around the same time. So if it is already out, make sure you check it out. If it's not, it's coming very, very soon.